Hi, my name is Dalton Seagraves, and this is my final. This whole semester we have went over GUI and how we implement it. Um, but GUI refers to a set of design elements that maximize seamless interactions and to create a pleasurable user experience. The whole goal behind it is to make it as user-centric so that the interactions are always transparent and efficient. You always want your GUI to be user-friendly, efficient, accessible, aesthetically pleasing. You don't want something too hard to look at or something too hard to use. Some of today's GUIs would be Spotify, Google Chrome, um, Microsoft Word, Facebook. The list goes on and on. We use GUIs almost daily, if not multiple times a day, depending on the generation. Some modern GUI features is gradients and depth. Bleh. As you see right here in the cats and dogs weather app, they created a nice gradient of yellow and nice depth as you bring in all that yellow sunshine closer to the dog in the nice, cute little outfit. Um, Purposeful animation. Um, it would have been an animation, but it's a picture. But the dog in the Cats and Dogs weather app, it would be walking in place as the weather app was loading. You want really easy to read fonts. Like down here, we love nerds in love with the web. It's a nice big font. You want something easy for your user to read. You want a seamless interaction. You don't want something too cluttered. You don't want something too hard to use. You want smart forms and inputs. You want easy to use menus, buttons. Secure and trustworthy. That is a big one in today's society. Everybody wants to be able to use a trustworthy app or a website. Customized and personalized. Most apps are going towards personalizing it, such as Amazon. You can personalize your Amazon however you want to. And another one is evolve and change over time. You can't have a stagnant design. You can't keep it the same forever. It's got to evolve and change over time as more and more people use your apps. Programming options. Angular and React was two big ones that I researched. Um, Angular was building modern and desktop web applications such as PayPal, Microsoft Office Home, Google Marketing Platform. Why do they use it? It's a modular structure. You can code consistency and easy testing. While React can develop single page applications such as Facebook. You can only use one page at a time. Uber Eats, Netflix, Twitter. And the list goes on and on. Airbnb, Instacart, PayPal. A lot of people use those apps especially. Um, Especially like college students. They're using PayPal for banking, Airbnb for vacations, Instacart, Uber Eats for eating, Facebook, Twitter for their social media, and Netflix for just watching movie shows in free time. Why'd they use it? It was simple to use. It was very flexible, very compatible, and it's got a very extensive tool set. I was actually surprised of how extensive that tool set was. Best practice. Um, it works together across all disciplines. Electrical engineers can work side by side with UI designers. That is a big, big thing. You don't want something that you're going to have to spend a lot of time talking between your electrical engineers and your UI designers. There's no handoff. It's easy to collaborate, communicate, um, and you can just sit there until it's complete. It's really easy to use. You can understand the whole experience. You can make a workflow map starting from the very beginning to the very end, and you can work through each steps. You can build prototypes. Testing is very easy to do. Um, it makes the development process faster. It reduces costs, saves times, and fixes the bugs faster. For my case studies, it was hard to kind of understand in this point until we got the email. Some of the things that I've used personally, Facebook and Spotify and Netflix is pretty easy apps to use. Very, very easy. Um, the Petco app was a little bit harder because I do have animals. Um, Navigating it can be difficult at times, especially when you're trying to shop for like different dog foods. That's when the app becomes a little bit harder to use. But if you're trying to just go in and say, "Oh, I've purchased this before," and click it, that part's easy. The hardest one is like cooking applications because you have to input all your ingredients, and sometimes that don't always go as planned. Keeping recipes in an app and then trying to use those in practical uses. Say you want to go find a recipe that you've written down in this app. Sometimes it can be hard to translate, especially if you don't give great detail to what you inputted. So sometimes cooking applications can be very hard to use. So it really depends on what apps you're using. Like Snapchat, Instagram, those are all easier to use than say Aldi. Aldi's another hard one. Um, just because of how you try to navigate through their app. It's it's still a brand new app. They're still working on it, but it is kind of hard to still use. So to my conclusion, creating a modern UI is not rocket science. It really is not, but it can be challenging. Um, you do have to study a bit of user behavior and patterns to create a nice, decent GUI for people to use. You're not going to please everybody, but you do want to appease most of the population that you're trying to go for. Um, you do want to try to influence every user to at least try your app or your product. And there's a very fine line between trending and modern user design. Trending, that's why a lot of the harder apps are being used still, is because they are trending. They still are accurate. Um, and that's why sometimes modern user design kind of gets pushed to the back because it can be too simple. Um, and then here is all my references that I've used throughout this whole research. If you have any questions, just email me, and thank you for your time.